A quiet morning last May. The warm sun beaming down. The land awakening. The air filled with the sounds of spring. Moose move about the undergrowth, searching out the tender leaves of birch and cherry and dogberry, which are just beginning to unfurl now in the warmth of the spring sun. Lean pickings now, but soon there'll be lots of green foliage to browse. No sign at all of growth on the farm, though. It's still a bit early for most crops. Still, it doesn't mean there's nothing to do. In fact, May month is the busiest time of year for Bernard Tucker, who spent a lifetime carving this farm from the wilderness back of Markland.
Well, the first thing now is harvest the rocks, and then starting tearing up, cultivating, getting ready for the spuds and the turnips. Cabbage is a later crop. You don't usually put our cabbage plants out till probably the last week in June or the first week in July. Pretty busy time now getting started because you get a few bad days, you only can work on the fine day. You got to punch long hours while the sun shines. Here we are standing up talking now and the sun is shining. And usually, a normal evening you'd be going all out on the tractor. Well, what we got cultivated here now and ridged up is for plant potatoes in. Usually, first week in May is when we make an offer to start. You don't really get going until about the last week in May or the first week in June. If you get to fine weather now, you really get to run.
Spring doesn't rush to Newfoundland, it sort of creeps in. Looking over its shoulder, making sure winter is really dead. Except here in the controlled environment of the greenhouse. Here, amid the warmth and moisture, and shielded from the threat of late spring frost, young plants get a tremendous jump on nature. In fact, spring, not fall, is harvest time in a nursery. By May, business is booming here at Bob Stria's Still Meadow greenhouse in Markland. Everyone's busy producing transplants for the farm and flowers for the garden. It's amazing what will grow here in Newfoundland, despite our supposedly erratic and unpredictable spring weather. But Bob Stria had no complaints this year.
It seems to be a little bit early this year, perhaps only a few days. It varies very little, surprisingly enough. Things are usually ready right around the 20th to the 25th of May every single year, no matter what the winter's like or the spring.
Newfoundland is an island of often startling contrasts. In one place, spring is a time of warmth and moisture, of long days filled with sunshine and flowers. In another place, an Arctic chill lingering in the air. The calendar says spring, but it's a different kind of spring here in White Bay. The drift ice has come in, blocking much of the northeast coast. Earlier, when it was looser, landsmen like Mark Small did well with the seals for the first time in years. But now, they're jammed in solid.
I think there a couple of weeks ago when we got out, for the first time for 4 or 5 years, the feeling was unbelievable, Like the young fellow there now, Horrell, the first time ever he went out sealing. And I haven't been hardly able to keep him in since. He just wanted to get out, and everybody feels that way. You look at this ice, I only wish that it'd go abroad, so that everybody could get out around again and get involved into the seal fishing. There's no way you can work through this today because it's pressed in on the land, but once it goes abroad, you know, you pick your leads through it, and I think it's a skill. Fellows got to know, you know, and watch the tides, and because you could easily get nipped up in that pretty quick if the ice started to move with the current. And this time of the year, when it's around the land, you might go out in a lead of water, and 5 minutes after that, you wouldn't be able to see a hole. So you got to watch. There's a certain amount of skills, and you got to watch what you're doing. If you don't, you could get caught pretty quick.
Have you ever had any close calls out sealing?
Yes, I've had one really close call. In fact, we had to leave our boats and walk ashore, and we spend the night in the lighthouse over in Harbour Deep. And there was no road. That was Sunday morning, and there was no way we could get a word back to our homes. But they picked up our boats the next day. A fellow from Little Bayonne's picked up the 2 boats. They weren't wrecked up that much, but it was a pretty uneasy moment for the people home, because they didn't know where we were to. We weren't aboard our boats, and it took us over a day to walk in Big Harbour Deep over there. And it was a pretty close call, because there was 3 fellows in the morning that we talked to. They lost their lives that day. They were drowning on their way back. We sort of hung to the ice and got in out of it. But it was a close call for a lot of people that time. And we came home and got our boats ready and went on again the next week. And it don't seem to, you know, to daunt you that much. It's something that you just want to get out there and get at it, eh?
No longer do the big ships pursue the whitecoats. This industry has been destroyed. This spring, some of the more fanatic protesters made an offer to stop these small boat fishermen too. But the land-based hunt survives. Crippled as they are by low prices, men continue to work the ice floes in the spring. It's still a significant part of their income. It's still an important part of their way of life. Ice was a problem too for the Molan brothers of Ragged Harbour on the Strait Shore. They were bringing home their brand new longliner from Trinity Bay when they became jammed in the ice. There were some anxious moments before they made it to port. Jack Molan told us the story.
We come around Cape Bonavista, and well, everything was all right, around 9 o'clock at night. So we left to come on, and when we got about an hour and a half steam down from that, we struck the ice, and it was just a string, so we figured we'd get through it and come on, eh? But it ended up that it was thicker than we thought, and it was closing in on us all the time, eh? So we was in it for until 10 o'clock next day. We went it around it, eh? So everybody was waiting for us.
A close call for the Molan brothers and their brand new vessel. Well, now that the ordeal was over, the next job was to choose a name. That wasn't a problem at all. The boys had all agreed long before what they'd call their new longliner.
We called it after my mom, eh? We told her that we was going to... she passed away there about four years ago, so I told her if I ever get a new boat, I would call it after her, right? So I called her the Molly B. So that's the best I could do, eh?
And so the 4 Molan brothers proudly started fishing this spring in a new boat, the Molly B. A bit further west in Lewisport, another larger vessel was being made ready. This ship was being converted into a fish collector to ply the waters between Bay Vert and Grey Islands, and maybe have a few trips to Labrador. Skipper and owner Woody Philpott, he's led a checkered life. Fisherman, union organizer, coaster, and more recently, skipper of a fishery patrol boat. Relinquishing a government job and launching forth on his own was quite a decision, but Woody's proud to see that name up there again.
Oh, it's a challenge, boy, I tell you. You know, it's something different from the job I had. I never got a day long enough now, and then they were all too long then. Too long. But now I work 18, 16, 14 hours every day, and I enjoy it. Yeah. And not only that, I got the boys involved, you know. Got a job for the boys, and it's more or less a family thing. She's part of the family now, this.
And you got the family name up there too.
And I got the family name, yeah. I'm going to keep that now as long as I live. There'll always be a Lady Philpott.
The Arctic ice lingered. Lobster fishermen waited. They had no choice. Offshore, an icebreaker valiantly butted its way along, trying to loosen the ice on the west side of Green Bay. And the small boat fishermen gathered in little clusters on the shore, putting the finishing touches to their boats, chatting about the price of fish, grumbling at the ice that stubbornly clung to their shore, covering the fishing grounds, keeping them from getting their share of the seals and the fish and the lobsters. No such problems over here on the west coast. No ice at all around Trout River. The fishermen can come and go at will. Cod, flounder, lumpfish, they were doing well till the seals came. Darrell Brake is a Trout River fisherman.
A lot of seals from around here the years. Most been around here for, well, as long as I've been fishing around here now.
Now what are you fishing for now? What are you?
Well, we're fishing cod now and flounder. But it's not too bad in cod gear, smaller miss, but in flounder gear is bad.
So you get a few seals every day?
Yeah, well, every day we always usually ends up getting 20 or 25 like that.
And does this tear up the gear now? Does this cost you money?
Oh, yes, I do, yeah. Well, every seal you get, you can expect the whole 6 or 8 feet across to tore up.
So it's not just the torn gears, it's the lost time and everything, I suppose, too. It's not fishing right when it's like that, is it?
No, it's not fishing when it's tore up. And, well, most of it, I guess, is expense to buy, too, it is that.
Now what about the people with the lump nets? I believe they have a real problem.
Yes, it's cruel to them. Well, they get their fishing bigger mesh gear, and well, fellas come in there with 40 and 50 out of 10, 15 nets. So it's not doing them that good. We don't know if it's going to hang on or not. If it do hang on, I think it's just about to take up nets. A fella will have to find another way to catch a trawl or something, jigger or whatever. It'd be no good to keep his nets out because he's only putting his stuff in the hole. If he goes out and gets 1,000 pounds of fish, he got $1,000 worth of damage.
So there's
the seals. So.
I guess there's a lot of upset fishermen on the shore.
Yeah, you'll hear a few bad words in there tonight now.
Well, there probably were some hard words spoken at the wharf that night in Trout River. But mostly it was despair and frustration we saw written on the faces of the fishermen there. Some had their decks covered with seals. Ironically, there's no tradition of skinning and marketing seals on this coast. The pelts weren't worth much anyway, and some fishermen had thousands of dollars worth of damage.
200, I imagine.
200 seals?
Oh, yeah, probably more.
Yeah. Did they ruin the nets too?
Oh, tore one of our nets. Tore up.
No one could recall when the nets were so full of seals. A discouraging and frustrating start this spring for the fishermen of Trout River. High in the mountains, the snows were melting under the strengthening sun. The days were long and warm, winter's grip broken. The land had awakened. Animals cooped up all winter were free to roam, some to blink at the sun for the first time. Spring had finally come to Newfoundland in all its glory, the hills haloed with morning mists, the air filled with hope and promise of the season to come. The whine of power saws filled the woods around Mount Peyton this spring as crews of loggers chewed their way through some fine stands of timber. Here, deep in the forest, where the sun's rays can't reach, a few skeletons of winter. A month before, and you'd be up to your waist in snow. Some of the trees would become saw logs. The smaller stuff, pulpwood. These days, all the wood must be utilized. Pulpwood for Abitibi, saw logs for Philpott's Mill in Cottlesville. For logging foreman Stuart Burt, it was good to be back in the woods again.
The month of May is about the time we start up each spring, eh? This time of the year. So we try to get the operation out of the ground the early as we can. That's about the time it starts down to the mill, eh?
And how's it going now? Are you doing well?
Oh yeah, we're starting to get it going now. It's going pretty good right now.
In good timber?
Yeah, we got good timber here.
So it's a good demand for lumber, is it?
Oh, great. Yeah, everything you can sell, everything now you can get. Everything we can sell it.
Here's why it's hard to work in the woods in April. Most of the roads are impassable. This place is a real highway compared to the way it was when the cutters came here 2 weeks ago. While a lot of woods work must still be done by hand, heavy equipment is now a normal and necessary part of a lumbering operation. These great robots have been integrated into the workforce. At times they do seem almost human, iron throats that grunt and roar. Huge, powerful hands that grab and grip and move trees around like they were matchsticks. Hands that can turn into a fist to pound and punch the timber. The big timber is destined for Philpott's Mill in Cottlesville, Notre Dame Bay. Here it's sawn into lumber. A busy place in the spring, and especially so now that the cutters are reaching their stride in the woods. They've got to work long hours to keep up with the production in the woods and with the demand from customers. Rex Philpott is the manager.
Time of the year you look forward to, you know. Spring of the year, getting things going. Snow going away. Roads drying up, back in the woods.
And you've started production already?
Oh yeah, we're way and going. We've been going there pretty well a month. In the Sawmill there, woods, going a couple of weeks.
So you're looking forward to another good year in the sawmill business?
Oh yes, definitely looking forward to a good year, yeah.
And the prices are good and markets look good and everything?
Prices are hardly ever good enough, you know. Always seem to want them higher.
But markets, okay?
Markets is pretty good, yeah. Looks good.
I noticed behind us you got some women working with you. It's not just men in the saw log industry anymore.
No, women got rights these days, you know, so we give them their rights here.
But they work side by side with the men?
Oh, they're good. Women is good. Women is good workers.
How much wood do you put through a day?
About 20,000 feet goes through a day.
20,000 feet?
Yeah, just plainer.
That's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Keeps you busy. Time
at the end of the day, yeah.
You don't need to go home and do any exercise.
No.
Philpott's Mill in Cottlesville, a busy place in May. Just down the road to the Isles a ways, another sign of spring. A capelin seine being loaded aboard a longliner. With the price of cod way down this year and the capelin price up, a lot of fishermen were gearing up with purse seines and bar seines. Further on in Twillingate Harbour, there wasn't a sign of ice by now. It had moved well off the land. Time to put the finishing touches on the longliners now. Time to get ready for the fishery.
Yeah, we're ready for everything now, boy. Capelin and crabs and lobster.
For the smaller boats fishing inshore, the fishery was already underway. Lobster pots were already being hauled here on the inshore grounds. We went out in boat with Phyllis Burt and her husband, Calvin. Here in the waters around Carter's Cove, they set their lobster pots each spring, as soon as the ice moves offshore. They'd been fishing lobsters for several weeks. In fact, in these waters, the best of the fishery was probably already over.
Not much down this way today.
I guess I'm in a bit too shoal of water. There's a lot of pots in the water, sir. I don't know where the lobster stands it. Too many pots. This is the one. Our lobsters are some be over here. What you get from now on is going to be pretty scarce. We get about 3 weeks, I guess. We do in this area. That's fairly good fishing.
Like many inshore fishermen, Calvin Burt does not depend on any one species. When the lobsters become too scarce, he'll turn to the cod and capelin fishery. Having a double income from the fishery helps too. More and more women have joined their husbands on the fishing grounds. Phyllis Burt has been going out in the boat for years, but considers herself a greenhorn in the lobster fishery.
It's the first year I really got interested in lobster. But like trawling now and that cod nets and that comes out.
Not a lot of work to do now that the lobsters are scarce, but Phyllis was busy enough when the fishery peaked a week or two before. The lobsters are soon caught up. The season doesn't last very long. Still, it's an important fishery, the first income of the year for a great many families. And so, spring came to the coast of Newfoundland this year. Men and women everywhere began to reap the bounty of the land and the sea. For Calvin Burt and his wife Phyllis, it was the start of another season on the bay. From May till October, they'd be out every day, hauling their traps and nets, doing their best to make a living from the sea. While the Burts were on the water, others had moved to the lumber woods. Saw logs and pulpwood would be their harvest. And others had turned to the soil to earn their keep. It was the month of May. The land had awakened, and so had the sea. It was springtime in Newfoundland, and everyone was hoping for a good year.